In June 2013, a man changed the world forever. Not with a weapon, not with an army, not with political power, but with information. His name was Edward Snowden, a former intelligence contractor who risked everything to reveal one of the biggest surveillance programs in modern history. Some people call him a hero, others call him a traitor. But regardless of where you stand, one thing is certain. Edward Snowden became one of the most controversial figures of the 21st century. This is his story. Edward Joseph Snowden was born on June 21, 1983, in North Carolina, United States. He grew up in a family closely connected to the federal government. His father served in the U.S. Coast Guard. His mother worked for a federal court. From a young age, Snowden showed a strong interest in computers and technology. Unlike many children his age, he spent countless hours learning about computer systems, networks, and programming. As he grew older, his technical skills became extraordinary. After the September 11th attacks in 2001, Snowden felt a strong desire to serve his country. Like many young Americans at the time, he believed in protecting national security. He joined the U.S. Army Reserve and hoped to become part of the Special Forces. However, a training injury ended his military career before it truly began. But Snowden's journey was far from over. His talent with computers soon opened new doors. In 2006, Snowden began working with the Central Intelligence Agency, better known as the CIA. At a young age, he gained access to highly classified information. His intelligence and technical abilities impressed many of his supervisors. He quickly rose through the ranks and gained access to some of the most sensitive systems in the U.S. government. Later, Snowden worked as a contractor for the National Security Agency, known as the NSA. The NSA is one of the most powerful intelligence organizations in the world. Its mission is to collect and analyze information to protect the United States from threats. While working inside these agencies, Snowden witnessed something that deeply concerned him. He discovered that the NSA was collecting enormous amounts of data from ordinary citizens: phone calls, emails, internet activity, communication records. Millions of people were being monitored through programs that most citizens knew nothing about. Snowden believed the public deserved to know what was happening. He struggled with this knowledge for years. He understood the risks. He knew that exposing classified information could destroy his career, his freedom, and possibly his life. But he also believed that remaining silent would betray his principles. In 2013, Snowden made a decision that would change history. He secretly collected thousands of classified documents. Then he traveled to Hong Kong. There, he met with journalists and provided them with evidence of the NSA's surveillance programs. As the world learned more about the leaked documents, the impact became impossible to ignore. News organizations across the globe continued publishing reports based on Snowden's files. Each new revelation created headlines. Each new document raised serious questions. People began asking whether governments had gained too much access to private information. For the first time, millions of people realized how much of their digital lives could potentially be monitored. Phone records, internet searches, emails, online communications. The debate quickly spread beyond the United States. World leaders demanded answers. Technology companies faced intense pressure from users. Citizens around the world became more concerned about privacy than ever before. Snowden's revelations did more than expose government programs. They changed public awareness. Many people who had never thought about digital privacy suddenly began paying attention. Technology companies responded by improving security measures. Encryption became more common. Messaging apps introduced stronger privacy protections. The entire technology industry began changing. Meanwhile, Snowden's personal life had changed forever. He could no longer return home without facing legal consequences. The life he once knew was gone. His career inside intelligence agencies was over. His freedom of movement was limited. Friends and family were separated by thousands of miles. For many people, the price would have been too high. But Snowden repeatedly stated that he understood the risks before releasing the documents. He believed the public interest outweighed the personal cost. Years passed, yet the controversy never disappeared. Books were written, documentaries were produced, interviews were conducted, universities debated his actions, governments discussed his impact, journalists continued analyzing the significance of the leaks. the question remained the same. Was Edward Snowden a hero, or was he a criminal? Supporters argued that he exposed activities that citizens had a right to know about. Critics argued that he revealed classified information that could help America's adversaries. The debate continues to this day, but regardless of which side people support, few can deny the scale of his influence. Very few individuals have altered global conversations as dramatically as Edward Snowden. His actions forced governments to explain themselves. His actions forced companies to improve security. His actions forced ordinary citizens to think about privacy in a digital world. In many ways, Snowden became a symbol of transparency, a symbol of controversy, a symbol of the difficult balance between national security and individual freedom. History often judges people differently as time passes. What seems controversial today may appear differently decades later. Future generations will continue studying Edward Snowden's story, not only because of what he revealed, but because his story raises questions that affect everyone. How much privacy should people have? How much surveillance is acceptable? And who should decide where that line is drawn? These questions remain unanswered, yet they continue shaping the modern world. And at the center of that conversation stands one man, a former intelligence contractor who made a decision that changed history forever. Edward Snowden. What makes Edward Snowden's story so unusual is that he did not come from outside the system. He was part of the system. He worked inside some of the most powerful intelligence organizations in the world. He had access that very few people could ever imagine. He understood how intelligence operations worked. He understood how information was collected. And because of that, his revelations carried enormous weight. Many whistleblowers expose problems from the outside. Snowden exposed them from the inside. That is one reason why his story attracted so much attention. The world was not hearing rumors. The world was seeing documents, real programs, real operations. As the years passed, Snowden continued speaking publicly through interviews and online appearances. He argued that privacy is not about hiding wrongdoing. Instead, he said privacy is a basic human right, a right that allows people to think freely, speak freely, and live freely. His message resonated with millions of people around the world, particularly in an age where technology had become part of everyday life. Smartphones, social media, cloud storage, digital payments. Modern life was becoming increasingly connected. But with that connection came new questions. Who controls the data? Who has access to it? And how much information should governments and corporations be allowed to collect? These questions became central issues in the digital age. Snowden's actions helped bring them into public discussion. Whether people agreed with him or not, they were forced to confront these questions. His story also highlights the power of one individual, one person, one decision, one moment, and the consequences reached across the entire world. Most people believe they cannot make a difference. They believe they are too small, too ordinary, too powerless. Yet history repeatedly proves otherwise. Again and again, individuals have changed the course of events, sometimes through leadership, sometimes through invention, sometimes through courage, and sometimes through a single decision that challenges the status quo. Edward Snowden's story is one example of that reality, a reminder that one person's actions can spark conversations across nations, a reminder that ideas can travel farther than borders, and a reminder that the choices we make can have consequences far beyond what we imagine. More than a decade has passed since Edward Snowden made a decision that changed his life forever, a decision that transformed him from an intelligence contractor into one of the most controversial figures in modern history. To some, he is a hero. To others, he is a traitor. But regardless of opinion, his impact cannot be ignored. His revelations sparked global debates, changed public awareness, influenced technology companies, and forced governments to answer difficult questions. The story of Edward Snowden is not simply about classified documents. It is about power. It is about privacy. It is about responsibility. And it is about the consequences of a single decision. Whether history ultimately judges him as a whistleblower or a criminal remains a matter of debate. But one thing is certain: his actions changed the conversation about surveillance forever. Even today, the questions he raised continue to shape the digital world. How much privacy should people have? How much power should governments possess? And where should the line be drawn? Those questions remain unanswered. but they continue to affect billions of lives every single day. Edward Snowden's story reminds us that information can change history, that one person can influence the world, and that the choices we make can echo far beyond our own lives. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more true stories, history documentaries, and inspiring biographies. See you in the next video.